This week in Jamaica Now, the world reacts as former South African President Nelson Mandela passes. He's to be buried in a state funeral on December 15. Trinidad's Foreign Affairs Minister says Jamaicans are not being targeted. Government lashed over latest corruption rankings, and the latest in the Vybz Kartel murder trial. The details of these and other stories coming up after the break.
Get the Gleaner Classifieds app for BlackBerry and be the first to know. Search by item or location, search entire listings, save results for reference later, and even call directly from the app. It's that easy. Download your Gleaner Classifieds app from BlackBerry World and subscribe today.
I'm Damian Mitchell, and this is Jamaica Now. The world continues to react following the passing of former South African President Nelson Mandela. Mandela, who was 95, died on Thursday evening. As the news grabbed international headlines around the world, leaders also paid their respect. The South African President Jacob Zuma said Mandela was at peace. And President Zuma has announced several activities in honor of Mandela ahead of his funeral on December 15 in his rural hometown of Kuno. The president has declared Sunday, December 8 a National Day of Prayer. A memorial service is to be held in Johannesburg on December 10. And as of Wednesday, December 11, his body will lie in state in Pretoria. Meanwhile, the Jamaican legislature will hold a joint sitting on Tuesday to pay tribute to the former South African president. In other news, Trinidad's Foreign Affairs Minister Winston Ducaron has sought to assure Jamaicans that they are not being targeted by Trinidadian authorities. And Mr. Ducaron says his country's relationship with Jamaica remains a high priority for the Kamala Persad-Bissesa administration. Last week, Ducaron and his Jamaican counterpart A.J. Nicholson held 2 days of talks on the issue of hassle-free movement between the two countries. Nicholson had invited Ducaron to Jamaica as tension grew arising from the denial of entry to 13 Jamaicans seeking to enter Port of Spain. But the meeting has left Trinidad's Security Minister Gary Griffith angry. According to Mr. Griffith, Mr. Ducaron made commitments without consulting him. The government has been facing criticisms over the country's latest ranking in the annual Global Corruption Perception Index. Jamaica is ranked 83rd out of 177 countries, the same position it received last year. Former Contractor General Greg Christie has accused the government of unapologetically disregarding the principles of good governance. And the leader of the opposition, Andrew Holness, says the ranking shows that the government has been paying lip service to the anti-corruption agenda. The Education Ministry is reporting that 3 girls were sexually assaulted by an intruder at a St. Catherine-based high school last week. The ministry says already the police have launched a probe and it's urging members of the public with information to help. The ministry also says its trauma response team has been offering individual counseling to the 3 girls. The Vybz Kartel murder trial continued last week with a government forensic analyst testifying that DNA tests conducted on a blood sample allegedly taken from the entertainer's house in Havendale, St. Andrew was that of a male. But the analyst said she could not say that the blood belonged to the alleged deceased, Clive Lizard Williams. Also last week, the police had to remove a large crowd which converged in the precincts of the Home Circuit Court after rumors circulated that Kartel was freed of the murder charge. And on Thursday, members of the public were removed from the courtroom because of what prosecutors said was the sensitive evidence which would be given by a senior policeman who is also a cybercrimes expert. Kartel is jointly charged with fellow entertainer Sean Campbell, also known as Sean Storm, Kyra Jones, Shane Williams, and Andre St. John for the August 16, 2011 murder of Clive Lizard Williams. The police say they are yet to make any breakthrough as they investigate the discovery of a bullet-making machine and thousands of rounds of ammunition at the wharf in Kingston. Investigators say the machine was shipped from the United States and was destined for the criminal underworld. O'Neill Schroeder, a Manchester man who has been listed as a person of interest in the case, remains at large. And that's it for this week's edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may tune into Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Damian Mitchell, and as we go, reactions to the death of Nelson Mandela.
Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. I thank you.